بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ياسين
Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil mursaleen Sayyidina Muhammadan wa ala alayhi wa sahbihi ajma'een. A young brother said in the masjid this past Jumu'ah, he heard something that should concern every one of us who cares about new Muslims. Never do taqlid, never follow a madhhab. Go straight to the Quran and Sunnah yourself. It sounds bold. It sounds like sincerity. But I want to ask you something before we go further. Who taught you how to pray? Who taught you what go to the Quran even mean? Practically on a Tuesday afternoon, you don't know how to perform ghusl correctly. Tonight, we make the case honestly and completely for why taqlid of a madhhab is not blind following. It's the sound, humble, historical, unbroken way this ummah has always practiced this thing. Taqlid does not mean blind, thoughtless following. It means accepting the ruling of a qualified scholar in matters of sacred law without personally rederiving the evidence yourself, because you are not trained to weigh conflicting hadith, obligation, linguistics, and centuries of jurist reason on your own. Every single Muslim who has ever lived it does this in some form. When you recite Quran in the Qari'ah or Hasb or Asin, you are following a chain of transmission you did not personally verify letter by letter. When you trust that Sahih al-Bukhari is authentic, you are trusting the methodology of Imam Abu Hanifah isnad criticism. Taqlid of a muhaddith. The question was never if you will follow someone. The question is who and how careful that person's methodology was built. فَأَسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. So ask the people of knowledge if you do not know. This ayah is the primary evidence the majority of scholars across all four schools use for the obligation of taqlid on the layperson. Ibn Abuti and countless of Usul scholars read this as establishing by census that none specially must follow one who is qualified. This is a real argument, and we should engage it honestly rather than pretend it doesn't exist. Here's the response, and it is where the actual weight of the issue lies. The distinction is between the qualified scholar doing ijtihad from raw evidence and the ordinary Muslim who has no training to weigh that evidence at all. A layperson jumping between four schools' positions, not because a qualified scholar guided them, but because they personally found one hadith sounds stronger. It's not following evidence. It is following their own untrained impression of the evidence, which is precisely the disorder taqlid exists to prevent. Here is what almost never gets mentioned in this debate. Imam Abu Hanifah himself and the great imams of every method told their own student not to blind follow them without evidence. It is not permissible for anyone to accept our opinion if he does not know where we derived it from. This single statement dismantled the understanding the counter or taqlid as mindless. Imams built entire system, legal system, checked it, cross-examined, and refined over centuries by thousands of scholars after them, precisely so that an ordinary Muslim could trust the system, even without personally verifying every answer himself. This is not blind following. This is trusting a rigid, edited methodology. The same way you trust a structural engineer calculation on a bridge without person rederiving the physics. A brother telling new Muslim to skip the entire audited system and go build his own understanding directly from raw Quran and Hadith, with no training in the Arabic grammar, obligation, Hadithan, or Usul al-Fiqh, is not offering him freedom. He is handing a new believer a task that took the greatest scholar in history decades of studying to do safely and calling it simple matter. Here's what I actually witnessed and why this matter beyond the theory. A new Muslim, weeks or months into this deen, is told, Don't follow a method. Don't do taqlid. Go straight to the source yourself. That sounds empowering and in practice. It leaves a brand new Muslim along with primary texts he cannot yet read in their original language. That sounds empowering. In practice, it leaves a brand new believer alone with primary text he cannot yet read in their original language, cannot yet weigh against centuries of scholarly disagreement, and cannot yet contextualize the results again and again, confused, paralyzed, or worse, a harsh, narrow reading of the deen with no scholarly guardrails were the first thing he was told to reject. A structured method does the opposite. It hands a new Muslim 14th century or careful cross-check the scholarship and say, stand here first, learn to pray, learn your fiqh, grow roots. You can study usul al-fiqh and go deeper later, the way the great scholars themselves did. But you do not start a house by removing the foundation. I'm not telling you, brother, who spoke against taqlid led Jumu'ah is not a Muslim, or that his sincerity is fake. I believe he's genuine, think he is protecting people from blind following. But sincerity is not the same as correct methodology. And the way of 14th century or scholarship, Hanafi, Shafi, Maliki, Hanbali, all four agreeing on the necessity of taqlid for the layperson. It's not something a single khutbah overturns. If you are new to this deen, or if you've been told to abandon the method you were raised with or guided to, go back to it. Not because you cannot ask questions. Ask everything, but ask within a structural building by people qualified to answer. By not tearing the structure down before you learn to stand. Ask the people of knowledge. If you do not know, that's not a suggestion, just the ayat. Oh Allah, protect the new Muslims, this ummah, from confusion and guide them to teachers who build them up and not tear them down. Oh Allah, give us humility in how we hold our position, and let us argue for truth without ever losing love for our fellow Muslims. Oh Allah, let us stand where the greatest scholar of this ummah stood, not out of arrogance, but out of trust in what they built for us with their lives. Ameen. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.